are not mega hits on box office. Do you feel that there is that pressure?
There is pressure. I think producers look at your Instagram followers, for instance. Just start from there, right? And they look at it as, how popular you might be or how many followers you have, and whether that will translate to them that people will come into the movie halls and watch the show, watch the movie. I think everybody has an unusual story, and you've done a lot of this now. Your whole show is you've done stories of people who've come from, everybody's story is very different. अगर शायद मैं finance में काम कर रहा होता in India, I might not have gone and become an actor. No, see, a lot of people's careers, our lives, it's very random. Na? Some mode happens, you do something and then it happens. So it is random. Because we do this for what? We do this so that people, you get respected by people and people like you. And when people come up to you and say, I really like you in this particular role or that particular role or in something.
Namaste Darshako, I am Manjari Mukherjee and you're watching me on Not So Mainstream, streaming exclusively on Pop Diaries. Well, this is where we bring you conversations of unconventional journeys from some of your most favorite conventional artists. Moving along, today's guest is someone very unconventional and not so mainstream. I say this because, kya kahun main, it's said now, inki craft, inki pehchan hai. What I mean to say is that his work speaks volumes about the kind of person he is. Maybe that is why, even after being socially inactive, he's very actively winning our hearts one stellar performance after the other. प्यार से उनको चड्डी बड्डी बोल सकते हैं because from being the Chadda in the office to being Mukul Chadda in real, I think he perfects every role he plays, on and off screen. And that is why today on Not So Mainstream, we welcome the very one and only, the very talented and the very loving Mukul Chadda.
Thank you, Manjari. That's a wonderful introduction. I'm feeling happy about myself hearing these lovely words. Thank you.
But I have to say, with this whole aura of positivity and, being so secure, being so happy and still doing such beautiful craft out there, I have to say you've proven the fact that not so mainstream hokar bhi, you can reach places and they are quite happy ones. So thank you.
Thank you. Again, once more. Thank you.
And on that note, correct me if I'm wrong, Mukul sir, I want to know, you have done IIM Ahmedabad se graduation,
yes.
MBA graduation,
yes.
And then you were banker in New York.
That's right, correct.
And after that acting.
Yes.
I mean, when I look at this graph, it's
कुछ गलत है कुछ सेंस नहीं बन रहा है
सेंस
गैप है बीच में कुछ हो गया
कैसे हाउ
मुझे भी पता नहीं I don't know how this happened from there to there I think my standard answer which is just a flippant answer is a little bit of stupidity and a lot of courage or the other way around but I don't know how it happened actually I was in the US that's right I was a banker I had always been involved with acting बचपन से I had been on stage I grew up in Chennai so I've been on stage from as long as I remember. Even when I was in IIM, I did plays. Even when I was working in New York, I had a job. I used to take part-time classes at Lee Strasberg Theatre Institute, which teaches the Stanislavski method. So I studied theatre there alongside. We started a theatre group. We did off-Broadway plays. So I was acting there also. Weekends pe wo kar raha tha main. So it was always something that was there. But I always thought this is a hobby. I never thought that this is going to be a career because I had another career. I had something else I was doing. I studied finance. I had a job. I had a good job, which other people, said is, you can't leave a job that other people want to get. So it gets difficult. But then at some point, I wanted to come back to India actually. To be very honest, अगर शायद मैं finance में काम कर रहा होता in India, I might not have got and become an actor. No, see, a lot of people's careers, our lives, it's very random. Na? Some mode happens, you do something and then it happens. So it is random. But I think my bigger driver was I wanted to come back to India. And I also wasn't enjoying the job so much. So I didn't know what to do. I was there for a while, for 6 years. And then I finally said, ki, chalo, I want to go back. But वापस आके क्या करूँगा मैं? Because, it's not easy. I thought if I don't do finance or don't work in a bank, what else do? I didn't know. And I didn't want to jump the gun into something. मुझे लगा कि if I do that and I don't have fun, because everybody told me, you're mad, you have a great job, ये सब एक सपना है कि India is better and going back to India. So you will be bored in 6 months. You will run back to New York, and all work is shit. You know how people talk. So I also thought there's no point doing something that I won't enjoy, because if I do something I don't enjoy, then I might anyway genuinely run back. You know, so there's no point. Because I'm not enjoying that job, I shouldn't run back. So I said मैं क्या करूँगा, and वहाँ बैठे बैठे you can't get a job here if you want to explore and figure out what you want to do. So I thought कि क्यों ना मैं एक break लूँ. I'll come back and I will figure it out. I will. And what do we do on a break? I want to do theatre because it's a break. You know what? I mean, somewhere that love for it was
The
always
passion,
there.
of course.
So I said I'll take a sabbatical for a year, 2 years. I will do theatre, and I'll figure it out. कि मैं क्या करना चाहूँगा. I'll speak to friends, batchmates in finance related to it, something else. Figure out what to do next. And by doing theatre also, I'll have connections in theatre. फिर बाद में जब मैं नौकरी भी करूँगा और whatever I do, I can do part-time theatre. So still the thought was that I'll still have एक टांग इधर पे होगा. So I think that was my thinking. And then I did 1 year. Then that 1 year became 2 years. That 2 years became 3 years. मैं छोड़ ही नहीं रहा था. And I was enjoying it so much. And I didn't. But even then, to be honest, I didn't think कि नहीं मैं actor बन गया हूँ. मैं full-time actor हूँ. Because somehow, I had the upbringing I had and where I started from. It was not something that could be a career. And for me, and I think that was a dilemma for me that, ये मैं कर रहा हूँ side में, but कुछ और करना है मुझे. And I tried to start a business with someone else. But हमेशा while doing that also, I was doing it in such a way that I didn't have to give up theatre. Which is not a good way to do any business. If you're doing something, trying to keep this going. So somewhere that was always there. And I discovered, then I started getting ads, which I didn't try for, but I did some plays and people liked it and they called me for ads. I did it. Then I started getting auditions for films, and I found that I'm going. I hadn't done the typical actor things.
Yeah, exactly.
I had not done the typical actor things. I had not, for example, I didn't have a portfolio. I had never clicked a portfolio because at that time you needed a portfolio. As an actor you need a portfolio. I had never clicked because I was like, I'm not an actor. I'm not a full-time actor. I'm doing theatre as a serious hobby, but I'm not here to become an actor in movies and all that. But then I'm finding someone's calling me for a film audition or asking me to. I'm doing it. I remember one story. I was called for 3 Idiots, for an audition for 3 Idiots, and I went. And then the casting guy said, as I entered, he said, "Where are your photographs?" And I said, "मेरे पास है ही नहीं." क्योंकि मेरे पास थे ही नहीं. I had never clicked it. And he looked at me like, "Yeah, तू serious भी है क्या?" Like he didn't say anything, but he just had that look as, "Are you even serious about this career?" And I felt very bad, and I said, "एक minute, रुको." And I ran down, and past me I searched for a 1-hour photo studio. You have those passport photos. And I told him, "Please click some pictures of mine." And he was like, "Only taking passport." I said, "नहीं, एक mid भी ले लो, एक length भी ले लो, ये कर लो." I was doing that. Got those pictures clicked, got them printed, ran back to that casting director's office. He had left by then, and I left them there. But what I discovered for myself, I didn't hear back from him obviously, but what I discovered for myself was, Manjari, that when I got a call to go, I was running and going there. And when he said, "You don't have pictures," I didn't say, "Arey, I'm not really interested." I still went, I ran to the photos, I felt bad.
Yeah.
I got the photos clicked. Then after that episode, I went and got some pictures clicked. So then I realized that, actually I do want to do this. I think it's like a revelation to yourself.
Exactly.
So then slowly, I think a couple of episodes like this, and I realized that, yeah, if I get a chance, I would like to act, and I want to do it more seriously. And I'm fooling myself. And so then slowly.
That's how it became a full-time thing.
That's how it became a full-time thing, yeah.
Wow, super. That's a very one-of-a-kind story.
I think everybody has an unusual story, and you've done a lot of this now. Your whole show is you've done stories of people who've come from.
Exactly.
Everybody's story is very different and unique, and I think that's the nice part about it. And this is, it is a city of dreams. This is an industry of dreams. So everybody has come from somewhere else. Whatever that struggle is, that journey. Sometimes it's a financial struggle, sometimes it's an emotional struggle, sometimes it's fighting with their parents, someone is fighting with themselves, trying to figure out whatever it is. And people have come from different. Because you're trying to do something which is tough.
Absolutely. And as an actor, as you said, you've not gone the very mainstream way. You've not done things which are, stereotypical, like bolte hain
Not
ki,
by
हाँ,
choice.
ऐसे
I
ही
would love to do.
करेंगे.
I would love to do mainstream things. So don't please. I mean, ये तो मरवा देगी. I would love to. आपको mainstream film में हीरो का रोल देना please दे दो. मैं कर लूँगा. मुझे कोई problem नहीं है.
Obviously, obviously. But basically, my point of asking is the fact that because the kind of the roles that you've done, the versatility the characters have had that you've done, somewhere do you feel as an actor it is important to do those stereotypical Bollywood hero movies as well, just to prove that I'm famous, I'm a star, and yeah, I'm successful?
See, I don't think you can strive for stardom. I think that's like a very difficult thing, to strive for. कि मुझे star बनना है, and these are the things I will do. I mean, we all know it's a matter of chance and luck, and I don't think you can strive for it. I don't think I'm also, at the same time, I'll say I'm not very good at planning a career and figuring out कि यार अगर ये चीज़ें मैं करूँ तो things will be better. If I was, I would have done maybe more things if I had a perfect plan. I don't think I'm very good at that, at having a plan. And I don't know whether it is even possible. A lot of things. Look, honestly, when people say that you've chosen these roles, roles, you choose roles that are offered to you. You get offered a bunch of roles, and mostly if you don't have that much work or you're not as successful, you pretty much do as many of those. There's some you choose not to do, of course, but by and large, you pretty much a lot of roles you do are a function of what you are offered as well. But I will say, like when you said you've done a variety of roles and done well in them, I think when you don't have so many choices, when people are not coming and offering you choices, like some people have a much bigger head start in the industry, obviously we know that, but when you don't, you have to make that extra effort, that every role I get, I have to make it count. Right?
Exactly.
Every role I do, I have to try and do my best to make this count and make it as good as possible.
When you were offered The Office
Yes.
in the Hindi adaptation,
Yes.
The fact that it is a huge,
Yeah.
fan loved, it has a huge popularity
Yeah.
in the US,
Yeah.
and the fact that it could have, backfired.
Mhm.
Did that thought
No.
occur to you?
No, it didn't, and I get this question very often because I think a lot of people obviously ask this question. I didn't. I mean, I didn't think, what if this doesn't work, And this is again a sign of, like for me, The Office actually was the first role where I was asked to even audition for a lead role in a major show or a major film. Like obviously in a short film or in a short film or an ad, you're playing the central character. But in a full-length feature or in a series, I had not even been called in to test for a lead part because that's how difficult it was, and to break through. And this was, of course, streaming had just started, and so a lot of different kinds of stories were coming on board, and a lot of different actors therefore got opportunities, which is great. So to me, it was a great opportunity, and not just that it's a lead part in a big show. I thought the character is a phenomenal character, a phenomenal challenge, and what a lovely opportunity this is. So in my mind, there was no question कि मैं ना बोलूं. I don't think that was a question. In fact, the question was, will I get the part? Because I had to do 3 rounds of auditions, and I was still waiting because they tested a lot of people for it. It was a big part. They had tested a lot of people. I remember I had tested, and I think the first 2 rounds, and they liked me, and they said कि we like you, but we're putting you on hold while we test a whole bunch of people, even some big names and whatever, because that's also a pressure that happens. So I was on hold for a long time, and then I had a 3rd round, and I was still waiting. I was only thinking, will I get the part or not? And I hope if I get it, they tell me in advance, because iska preparation bhi karna padega. And then finally, when they told me, I only had about 2 weeks before we started shooting. So then it was like, oh my God, ye itna sara kaise karunga? But I did not ever think that, oh my God, should I not do this? Will it backfire? I don't think you can think like that. I think you have to have some delusion as an actor that whenever you get a part, that I will do a kick-ass job. I think we all have that complete delusion. मैं तो nail कर दूँगा. Just give me the part, right?
Wow, super. But I think that is exactly the, they say na that Delulu is the only Solulu.
Delulu is the only Solulu. I completely agree. और मुझे अभी पता भी चल गया what these words mean, which I never knew earlier. But Delulu is the only Solulu. Is for many things in life.
I'm living by this now.
Correct.
Okay.
नहीं तो कोई कुछ नहीं करेगा.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
कोई भी कुछ
Who'll
नहीं
start a
करेगा.
business? I mean, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to be delusional in life.
Completely.
Completely agree. If you ever have a dream, this dream role, dream genre of a film, what would that be?
I'm putting this out again. I've thought of this. If anybody is adapting Breaking Bad into India, please give me Walter White's role. I would love to play chemistry teacher turned meth dealer. And I think it's a great role, and I would love to play it.
Right.
I think I'd be perfect for it.
Okay, very interesting choice. Okay, moving along. When I say, sometimes I really feel that an actor's life is really tough because it goes through a lot of changing times with the audiences, the way how the public reacts to them, personally off screen, even on screen.
Yep.
They have to look at a different thing, or all the different things. So nowadays, there's this thing that an actor not only has to perform with quality work, but they are also in a certain kind of pressure to bring audiences to the theatre. And somehow, I feel that might lead them to wrong choices. With someone who's loved by the audience and the critics alike for your choices and your characters, and even if they are not mega hits on box office, do you feel that there is that pressure?
There is pressure. I think, we know that producers look at your Instagram followers, for instance. Just start from there, right? And they look at it as, how popular you might be or how many followers you have, and whether that will translate to them that people will come into the movie halls and watch the show, watch the movie. And it's a pressure. It's a pressure. I know lots of people who therefore feel the pressure and they try and up their Insta game, and then you are questioning, should I be acting? Should I be focusing on my craft or focusing on doing social media? Fortunately, I'm so bad at social media that I decided कि वो छोड़ ही दो. वो तो मतलब मैं अल्लड़ हूँ उसमें. There's no point even trying. But it is a pressure. You're absolutely right. There's a pressure constantly. Like I get that a lot from even my managers or from other people, that listen, you have to up your game because this is part of, and at some level I understand it also as a commercial thing. And I know people who are both directors and producers, and they say, as a director I want the best actor, as a producer I want the most popular person. I'm wearing two hats. I mean, so it is tough. And it can kind of mess up with people's heads in, all of us. I mean, that what do I focus on? Do I focus on, and we also go through, our lives are such that it's very unstructured. You can have a lot of work happening, and that's fine when that's happening. Then you're working very hard on those roles, fine. Then there's also periods when you don't have as much work. You're in transition. At this point, what do you focus on? Do you focus on learning a new skill, doing some theatre workshop, or being fit, or do you focus on social media? And it's not easy because you're constantly. It's a constant hustle. I think that's the thing. It's a constant hustle, right? You have to get work. You have to also get work for yourself. And what are the routes to get work for yourself? Not easy.
So have you found what you
No,
need?
I don't know what the solution is. अगर आपको पता चले, please tell me, because I don't know how this works. And I think I don't know if anybody has. But I mean, it's a discussion that we all have with each other sometimes. And it's not easy. It's tough. It's tough.
Definitely tough.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's very tough.
Yeah.
It's just looking at it, because I'm not completely into it, because I'm not an actor. But I'm definitely when I sit down and talk to other people, I understand that they're going through a lot of hassle.
But it's now, I think, this modern world making a problem here across industries, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I think social media, for example, people in every business feel the pressure to need to post, to need to do things. Everybody does.
True.
It's a very weird world we have entered, but it is there. It's a reality now. Either you choose to say कि मैं करूँगा या नहीं करूँगा, But it's better to have a clear choice actually, because वो आधा इधर थोड़ा सा करूँ ना, it's not easy. So I think everybody faces that kind of pressure now. It's a hustle. We are moving away from these old structured jobs where you had एक बार आपने नौकरी ले ली, then you have a structured environment in which I do this right, I will rise. But it's not like that. You have these small startups, small organizations. Everybody's kind of an entrepreneur. So everybody's struggling with this now, I think. It's not easy at all. You have to not only be good at your work, but you're responsible to get work.
Exactly.
And that's hard.
But do you feel it's kind of a little unfair, though, in the light that nowadays, social media influencers or social media stars, as we call them, they are getting the kind of work,
Yeah.
okay, even after not knowing the craft
Yeah.
as well, you're
Yeah.
getting the kind of
Yeah.
work that should be going to people who know the craft.
Yeah.
Do you feel that it's a little unfair?
See, I mean, naturally, I'm going to be on the side of the actors because I'm on that side, and I feel you should cast people who are better actors. Like I said, I was talking to a person I know who's a director and a producer. He's both, and he said, as a director, I want the best actor for the job. And when I put my producer hat on, then I'm thinking of kitne views hai, who can draw crowds, who can get this, because that pressure is on them also. In a weird way, when he's getting financing, he has to sell, something. So it is a mad world we live in, and I mean, I don't know. There's no point thinking about it too much. As far as we are concerned, you just whenever you get an opportunity, you try and nail it to the best you can because that's the only thing in your control. So you have to just work hard at that part and say, try your best. That's all.
This is also a way of sorted thinking.
I don't know if it's sorted thinking or not. I mean, I don't know. It's just, but I think it is easier. I found to be, like I said. I mean, for example, my Insta game is so bad. that अभी कितना ही कर लूँ मैं क्या कर लूँगा
So
तो
basically
halfway house करने का तो फायदा नहीं है ना because no, but if you're in a halfway situation where you're sort of somewhat doing a good job,
True.
then because you have to find where are you going to direct your attention, and it's not easy. But you may say sorted, it may come across that way, but that pressure is always on everybody. You're constantly thinking, अच्छा इसमें से एक post मिल जाएगा कर लेते हैं. It's there at the back of your mind. So it isn't easy, and yeah, it's just it's just the way it is. Yeah.
Okay. You have done Fairy Folk,
Yes.
Sunflower. Now there's Big Girls Don't
That's
Cry.
right, yeah.
Can you tell me more about your character?
In Big Girls Don't Cry.
Yes.
So Big Girls Don't Cry is a pretty much a coming of age type story. It's a very different type of coming of age story, which is what I like about it. It's about a whole bunch of girls in a girls' school that you must have figured from the
Yes,
trailer.
yes.
And so it is that kind of a story. I play the the father of one of the girls, and I think the idea, without saying too much, because obviously the show is not released, so I can't give spoilers. But without saying too much, I think with the show's perspective is anyway looking at the problems that girls of that age face with their relationships with each other, with their friends, their romantic relationships, just the growing pains, problems at home which some of them have. So I think my character and my wife, I mean that the family life that we have, that reflects the growing pains of home. Nothing is normal in the show in that sense. It's nothing happy. It's not that kind of a show. It's tough for all those girls, and we reflect those aspects. And what drew me to the character was, I mean, there are issues with that character, that family, and I thought that was an interesting take on it. I mean, how again, I'm being careful not to say too much. But
You have to see.
It's a couple of days away. You will
Exactly.
see it soon, and maybe when this airs, it'll already be out.
Absolutely.
In which case, then I can say whatever. I don't know, but yeah, it's that's the interesting part of that role, and we had a fun time doing it. And it was shot in Ooty, which is one of my favorite places to shoot.
And I think it's a good thing that we are going to get an insight into. I think the world is going to get an insight into these kind of girls as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a nice show, and I think all the directors and the showrunners, they have all been to boarding school. So it's very much like, yeah, they all have actually, and it was very interesting. They didn't even realize it when we were on set, and I was just talking to all of them, Karan and Nitya and Sudhanshu, and they've all been to boarding school, and they all have very strong perspective on the difficulties that people face in these places, with all the things that come along with it. So it is going to be an interesting different take on these growing
Definitely.
pains. Yeah.
But although I cannot relate to it.
But
I've always, the pains of growing up in a boarding school and everything.
Yeah, I'm not from a boarding school, for example.
Exactly.
I didn't grow up in a boarding school, but I found it interesting what these people go through. I mean, of course, what they go through is what everybody goes through. It's not like it's totally different.
Yeah.
It's not a completely.
The problems are same, but the settings is
correct.
different.
You're right. Yeah. So it's different. So it's just that the context, the situations, those are specific to the boarding school environment. But the problems that teenagers face is the same. It's all the same. Yeah, it's all the same. Yeah.
You were saying, and I was talking to someone recently, and and they are not from the industry. They don't have absolutely no connections with it. So that is outsider kind of perspective
correct,
होता है.
correct.
So they're like, Bollywood is like this, Bollywood is like that, and it's just, I just keep thinking that, do the actors also feel the same, that Bollywood is it just a misunderstanding from the public side that Bollywood is a little dark, and that there are things which are existingly unfair and unjust that does happen? Do you feel that?
No, I think this is a good popular narrative, right? Especially it happened in the news, and that Bollywood, especially after, unfortunately, Sushant Singh's, I'm going there straight, but after his death, I mean that this became a very popular narrative on television, that oh my God, Bollywood is this cesspool of vice, and I mean we've also become like that now in our media, that you pick on one thing and you just completely trash it, right? I mean it's like Schadenfreude. Everybody has fun trashing some successful industry or whatever. So I think that's a bit overdone, right? Are there stories of things that are incorrect happening? Of course there are, which I'm sure is true for many industries. But I think that became a popular narrative at that point in time, fueled by news channels, and
and then it just carries on.
And it carries on, and it's also a nice narrative. You see people who are successful, and you are able to knock them down by saying this, right? And it was primarily said about, I mean, you can go ahead and do all that. What I love about this business, honestly, is that, I mean, I'm not saying that everything is hunky-dory. I think, in fact, things are not. It's like we were just talking about how difficult it is, how much of a struggle it is for everybody.
Exactly.
In my view, I think everybody in this industry is constantly struggling, right? It's like whatever level you're at, everybody is trying to make it and do a better job. And actually, I love that about it, right? Because otherwise, why are you getting up in the morning? What are you looking forward to? So everybody, and you can actually get a lot from people if you are able to offer them something that is helping them in their journey. We are always thinking that some people are not helpful, but why should everybody is so caught up? They get up in the morning, they've got their journey, they've got to figure out what they have to do. That's how the city is. Mumbai is like that, actually.
Absolutely.
So if you're able to, if you're able to help them in their journey, they will help you in yours, because it's just mutual. It's just how, in that sense, it's very capitalistic, right? That's how it works. It's like everybody is
the
like,
whole society is like that.
In a way, and I think in some ways that's also good, right? In some ways, it's like everybody is gung-ho and trying to move ahead. And it's not like everybody's sitting back. It's not like, maybe like your impression of Goa, that everybody's chilling and saying, no need to, everybody's like trying to, move on. And that's also nice.
Absolutely. I think it's a beautiful place to be in.
Yeah.
Every place has its own pros and cons.
Yeah.
So it's just the kind of target that we are put on.
Yeah, and if that's something that works for you, some people want a more relaxed, laid-back industry or life, that's fine. But if you're hungry for more, and it's helpful to be surrounded by other people who are hungry for more from what they want also.
You were talking about being in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
As an actor, do you feel that attending these Bollywood parties, a certain kind of Bollywood parties, surrounding yourself with a certain kind of social circle, really works on getting someone, more work?
Again, I don't know the answer to this question. Like I said, what it takes to get more work and get ahead is something we are all struggling with. Nobody knows the real answer. But yeah, I think it does. You can see that also typically at times when you have got work at times, right? You can see the time, because if the casting people or the director thinks of you at that time that they are looking for something, you're even getting called to be considered for it. Let's say you think I'm getting tested for it, I have to do well on the test, that's fine. But you have to get called to be tested for it, or you have to be called to be considered for it, or they have to talk to you about it or think of you. And there are many actors around, so they can think of any number of people. So sometimes, yes, I think if it's, out of sight, out of mind, if you're visible, and I know several stories, from people I know who, you literally bumped into somebody at an airport or somewhere else, and they're casting at that point in time, or they've met them somewhere and they're like,
Yeah, absolutely.
I've had that happen to me. I've said, I met somebody who's casted, said, kuch chal raha hai, and he said, there's a project actually right now I'm casting for, there's any role, I'll call you for it. You still have to test and you still have to do all that, but so that does happen. So I think in that sense, in any business, if you're visible and you're seen, and it's just that you want that people think of you, that someone, and it also happens that you do a role, someone likes you in that role. If in a short period of time after that, if 6 months later people will forget, but in a short period of time after that, if they're looking for somebody, they might more likely call you and say that, do it. So yeah, I think it is obviously ideally your work should speak for itself, but there's such short attention span nowadays. There's so many shows, there's so many movies, things come in 2 weeks, they're gone, people have forgotten. So I guess it does make a difference. Yeah, I'm sure. And I'm sure if you have, and people also like to work in groups. I mean, look at Chris Nolan, forget all this. Chris Nolan has worked with the same bunch of actors, all his films. I would love to be in that set, yeah. But that's how it works at some level, right? You're working in that set and he's comfortable with them. So he keeps casting them.
Exactly.
Other people must be feeling, yaar, mujhe kyun nahi le rahe ho, yaar? But he's not even considering them, but it happens. Certain directors are comfortable with certain actors and they keep casting them.
Yeah.
So maybe, I'm sure it makes a difference.
I want to know, in these parties or just anywhere, if you...
I'm not called to that many parties, by the way. Yeah, I'm just telling you.
You should be. He should be.
Tell me.
But anywhere, if you've bumped into a celebrity who's been very aspirational to you and you've just been very awestruck by that person, who would that be?
Oh, several people, I think. I can get quite tongue-tied or awestruck with people. A lot of my fans actually have been sporting fans. Heroes have been sporting ones, actually. And I have never known what to say to them when I met them, because... So, who would it be? I think... I think most of my heroes have been sporting heroes. And I've met some of them and I've been completely tongue-tied. And I don't know what to say to them. Like, kya bologe? I mean, sach mein kya bologe? I mean, what can you say? You can say, I'm a fan, great, take a selfie, then what? After that, what do you say? And it is kind of strange, right? You may think that you will have a great conversation with them, but you probably won't,
You get tongue-tied and you get awestruck. You're thinking like, kya पूछूं? वो क्या पूछूं?
Kya conversation karu? Am I intruding? Am I going to, I mean, do they really want to have a conversation? I mean, and in some sense, if you already say I'm a fan, you've established that, it's not that, theek hai, ho gaya abhi, I've liked your stuff then. And I'm sure they feel happy, but uske baad kya?
And after that, how do you continue the conversation?
I'm not very good at this. I'm the worst.
Same
I'm not very good at this. And I think now I've realized that it's okay. It's better to admire from a distance. I mean, you can go up and say, I'm a fan, maybe, take a picture or whatever, but usse zyada kya? You can't really get into a...
Same here.
Yeah.
So I got suggestions saying that just go and tell them why you are their fan. If there's a moment where they've touched your...
I think that would be nice.
I
think that would be nice. Yeah, that would be. I would agree. Like if someone comes up to me and says, "I liked you in this performance," I think that feels a lot better because we do this for what? We do this so that people, you get respected by people and people like you. And when people come up to you and say, "I really liked you in this particular role or that particular role or in something," I think that feels good because you feel like it's reached something, it's reached somebody, and that's great.
That they're liking you for your work.
Yeah. You also get the opposite, na? Often there'll be people who will come up and say, "Sir, aap actor ho. What have I seen you in?" And and they're trying to remember. And it's. I mean, where is that conversation going? That's even weirder. Because where is that conversation
now, how
going?
do you say that this might be the one that you've seen me in?
You can't say that. It's the weirdest conversation you have because I'll tell you where it can lead, and it can be very, very awkward. It's a comic moment. You can have a scene out of it. Somebody comes to you and says, "I have seen your work. What have I seen you in? You tell me." Now, what am I supposed to say? If I have done one thing only, I can say. Now, so then what? Then the conversation can go where I am going through my filmography, and I'm saying this, no. So then I am trying to guess what that person has seen me in. After 4 or 5 times, they get tired and they will say, to avoid this going on, maybe, like, what is that conversation? It is weird. So I nipped that in the bud now. I cannot answer that question, boss. Agar you don't know, fine, thank you, whatever. But this I cannot answer that. What have you seen me in? I don't know.
Exactly.
I mean, how can I? And clearly that recall is not so strong that it has touched you. So let it be. It's fine. But I'm not engaging in this further.
Oh God, so embarrassing. Okay.
Oh, they're very hilarious stories. You find hilarious stories about people who ask for selfies and stuff. It's
No, yeah, I've heard.
No, I've seen it. I'll tell you another episode. I was at an airport the other day. This guy came up to me very sweetly and he said, "I have loved your work." He has narrated what he has seen me in and why he has liked it and told me that. And he has remembered an ad I have done which I don't remember, and he liked what I did in it. He's remembered some show. And whatever, and great. And he said, can I get a selfie? I said, great, no problem. We're taking a selfie. I was clearly in a hurry to catch my flight, so I, was moving. So anyway, we took a selfie. There's one uncle who passed by. He passes by, he sees the selfie being taken. He stops. He turns and says, can I also have a selfie? And he turns to the guy and says, ये कौन है? उसको कोई idea है ही नहीं ये कौन है. But कोई यहाँ पे selfie ले रहा है, तो मैं भी ले लूँ. मतलब by chance रख लेते हैं ना pocket में, phone में, बाद में बच्चों को दिखा देंगे. See, I got now. Who is this person? I don't know. Because someone, I am telling you as a social experiment. You tell your friends, you go to the airport or somewhere public, and somebody, a friend comes up to you and says, ma'am, big fan, can I get a selfie? 3 other people will come and take a selfie with you straight away, because they just know that ये तो होगी कोई, हम भी लेके रख लेते हैं.
I didn't know about this, but this is funny, very funny. As a man, over here there's always this perception that we don't. This is about a little bit more personal.
Sure.
As someone who's married to another person, as a partner who's in the same kind of profession, there can be 2 things. One, that it can be risky, a little risky, and then it could be bliss, because you understand each other more better, obviously. But if there's any difficult situations that arise between you and Rasika, how do you guys solve it? Like, what's the trick? Because I've seen certain pictures.
You're asking about marital. No, so first, I'll answer the first part, which is easier. Which is, you're right. I mean, it might be financially risky for 2 actors to marry each other. I agree with you. I think it is, 2 both unstable careers. And when we first met and we got married, I mean, it was even more unstable. And so, it isn't the smartest choice financially to marry another actor. I agree. But ऐसे ये सब चीज़ें सोच के nobody gets married, right? You don't think these things through. But that is true. I would say that if I was a financial planner, I would tell people don't marry someone from also. I mean, at least have one vocation which is stable and one which is unstable. Then it's a good match. So financially, yes, probably not the smartest, but we don't think like that. What was your second question? You said.
How do you maintain the relationship?
Oh, that's a very difficult question to answer. And I don't think I have an answer for it. I think anybody who feels that I have figured out how to make marriage or make relationships work and this is the solution is delulu. Okay, there is no answer. I mean, we are always learning. I don't think I can give anyone a solution on what makes things work. Anybody who's been in a relationship will say.
But there's a strong debate nowadays about a red flag and a green flag man.
I'm hearing these things. I'm hearing this a lot. I've never heard this before.
Red flags are basically toxic personality traits that you need to be away from.
Okay.
For your own inner
Sure.
peace.
For any, yeah, correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the green flags are the ones that you want to attract towards yourself.
Okay.
So, what do you have to say about this debate? And apparently those are very important to maintain good relationship between both men and women should have green flags.
No, I agree. I mean, conceptually it sounds correct that, if you see red flags, you should run away. But I mean, now I don't know what
Do you have tips?
No, I have no tips.
To be a green flag person.
No, I mean, if you have red flags which are like, what do you say, toxic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you have toxic traits, that's a problem. I mean, period. I mean, there's no tips to be talking to your therapist and sorting it out. I don't know. How can I help you saying, don't listen to me. Go to your therapist. First of all, figuring out that you have a toxic traits is, but I don't think this is about that. I think this is about figuring out toxic traits in your partner. Again, this is the matter, very honestly, the therapist should deal with. I don't think anybody else should even venture into this space and pretend we know anything.
Okay. What do you have to say about the fact that the pressure of being in a marriage is sometimes, so much for a man that they kind of, they feel that it's a liability or responsibility, especially if you are an actor in the industry and somewhere you try to, run away from it. Do you feel that's
No, I don't feel being married as a liability for a man. I think earlier there might have been a liability for a woman, for an actress.
Okay.
Earlier there was always, a lot of actresses, especially leading actresses in Bollywood, were always worried about whether they would get work after they got married. And, I don't think it ever happened for men. I think men got work even after they got married.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about stars and superstars and, the problems that they had. I have never felt any sort of a liability being married. No, never. Never, not once.
And you don't think that's prevalent in the industry as well? Actually, even I don't think it's prevalent.
I don't think so. If anything, I mean, I think women face it harder. No, I don't think
Yeah.
men have it, among the many things that men have advantages on, this could be one. I don't think that men, I name one man who's had a problem because he was married and didn't get work. I don't know.
They
I can't
become
think of,
more desirable after marriage.
I don't know if anybody has. Yeah, I don't think so. At least I have not faced any problem. And I'm
Yeah,
not
I feel that they become more desirable after marriage. Somehow, I don't know. That's a very controversial statement from me.
It's fine. It's from you, not me, so it's okay.
Okay. Lastly, I want to know
Yeah.
which is this Hindi movie that you've recently seen and loved?
Which I've seen. I saw Lapata Ladies just now. Yeah.
You loved
Yeah,
it?
I liked it a lot. I thought
It
it was a
was
very
beautiful.
lovely
It was
film.
good.
Lovely, sweet little film.
Yeah.
Uh,
Great comic timings as well.
Very good, very good. Lots of wonderful actors, doing little things.
Absolutely.
In the police station, even those other cops.
And great story, important message.
Yes. And lots of not very well known faces. I thought a lot of them did very well. Loads of
Yeah.
them did very, very well. So very, very sweet film. Yeah.
Okay. And lastly,
Yeah.
so what makes Mukul Chadda not so mainstream?
What makes me not so mainstream? No, I'd like to be mainstream also, and I will be non-mainstream, mainstream. But I think what Manjari, I mean, I don't know this mainstream, non-mainstream debate because honestly, for me, I'm very excited by the challenge of a role when it's interesting, when when there's something in it that you can sink your teeth into. Now, it may happen that when you're not a superstar, that you may get more delicious opportunities in a non-mainstream project, right? Because in a mainstream project, they have their own constraints. They have to be certain commercial cinema. There are certain superstars who will play lead roles. You will get a smaller role typically. So there are certain maybe different kinds of projects that you may get more interesting work, bigger and interesting work in, right? I mean, that may happen. I mean, streaming, of course, has changed that to some extent.
True.
But for me, the main thing is something interesting, something I haven't done before, something I can sink my teeth into, something that can push me and make me scared and excited at the same time. That's what excites me.
Wow, super. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Mukul
Manjari. It was
sir,
lovely chatting with you.
For being here and honoring us, okay? For being in our studio.
My honor entirely. My pleasure, and it's been wonderful chatting with you.
I wish you all the best
Thank
for
you
the
so
future
much.
projects, and
You
I wish
too.
to see you more. And so that people don't come up and say, where did I see you?
No, that will always happen. That will happen
Ah,
100%. That is a permanent thing. But aapke muh mein ghee
Okay.
shakkar, I hope that happens. And thank you. It's been lovely chatting with you.
Well, that was Mukul Chadda over here in our studio in Pop Diaries with us on Not So Mainstream. And where will you see it? On Pop Diaries channel. And what will you do? Like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to click on that bell icon to get more updates like this in the future. And don't forget to comment. Please comment. Bye.